Hey friends, today I want to talk to you about a really long, fancy word. It's called proprioception. Proprioception is just a fancy way of saying how the brain is perceiving the body in time and space, or even more simply, how does the body move? How does the body move? How is the body posturing itself? What's happening in the joint receptors? What's happening in the muscle spindles? What's happening in the connective tissue, right? What is the brain able to sense from the body? So with chiropractic care, we're working with proprioception to help light up and activate the nervous system, activate the brain so that it can become more aware of what's happening inside of the body. So that's a big tool that we're using, right? I'm not so sure I know how to tell your stomach to communicate more coherent messages to your brain. But I know that if I check the thoracic spine and find any twisting in the spinal cord in those nerves that are affected, that are coming from the stomach, and I can take that twist out of the spinal cord or provide good stimulus to a specific nerve root with that associated nerve going to the stomach, that's a really cool, powerful, potent way to get the brain to be more aware of the stomach, right? So that's what we do as chiropractors. We're looking into the joints, into the muscles, into the connective tissue, where our connective tissue is highly innervated. A lot of what I'm doing on the table with y'all is actually connective tissue work. We're working with the myofascial system, which is highly innervated. So that's why we are coaching your awareness of your brain's ability to sense what's happening in your body with the breathing and with the sustained contacts and with the light touch, because a lot of those interference nerve patterns are actually in that softer, lighter connective tissue. And sure, we have muscle imbalances, we have tight muscles, we have loose muscles, so we can get really specific with how we're stretching, opening the muscles, or activating the muscles with the arthrostim. The nerves go everywhere, so it's not muscle work, it's neuromuscular work, right? And always, we're looking at it from this approach of, where specifically in the nervous system can I stimulate those nerves at those receptor sites so that we can get a clear sensory input going up to the brain. That's my drawing of the brain. Not super great, but deal with it. And then, we get the brain to light up, we get the appropriate information to the brain, or get information from a point in the body where there was a lack of information. So now the brain's getting more information than it had to work with before. And because that happens on a repetitive basis with chiropractic care, and we're increasing that sensory threshold, like I said, the brain is able to spit back the appropriate motor response or more motor response to properly activate the muscles, to properly get a proper motor response to the stomach. Maybe it needs to create more stomach acid. Maybe something else has to happen in our heart. Maybe our heart rate needs to come down. Maybe our breathing rate needs to drop down. Maybe our diaphragm needs to let go of tension. Maybe a certain muscle in our leg is holding on too tight and another one isn't activated enough. There's all sorts of different parts of our bodies where there can be disconnects, and when we get the appropriate sensory input into the brain on a repetitive basis, the brain can become more aware of what's happening in the body and get that awareness facilitated back down through that motor response. So that's what chiropractic is all about. It's about improving that mind-body connection, that brain-body connection, through opening up that sensory experience through the very long fancy word proprioception.